Welcome to the webinar. We'll begin in just about 30 seconds more. Please stand by. All right, we might as well begin. Thank you for joining the FASB webinar, Professional Development Opportunities for Trainees. Today, we'll highlight some of the excellent professional development programming offered by some of our member societies. During our time today, I'll start with a brief explanation of who FASB is, then go over a few of the reasons it behooves you as a trainee to be a part of a professional society, and show you where you can access information on the wide variety of professional development activities offered by FASB member societies. After that, we'll hear about specific examples from some society staff. And finally, we'll end with time for your questions. I'm Libby Barksdale, a Science Policy Analyst at FASB and the Staff Liaison to our Training and Career Opportunities Subcommittee. Joining me on the webinar today are Dr. Mary Litzinger, Manager of Educational and Career Development Programs for the American Association of Immunologists, Dr. Kanika Pulliam, Senior Manager of Education and Career Development Programs for the American Society of Human Genetics, Dr. Catherine Fry, Director of Education for the American Society of Pharmacology and Experimental Therapeutics, and Dr. Ida Chow, the Executive Director of the Society for Developmental Biology. Just a few housekeeping items before we get into the details. Right now we have everyone on mute to cut down on background noise, but you can still ask questions at any time throughout the webinar. On your computer screen, you should see a box that looks like what you see here on the webinar screen. If you don't see that, you may just see an orange box with a white arrow, which you can click on to expand it. To ask a question, click on the white box that says write your question here, type your question, and then hit the gray send button. We'll answer all the questions at the end. Okay. If you're not familiar with FASB, the Federation of American Societies for Experimental Biology, we comprise 30 professional societies, which collectively represent over 130,000 researchers. Our mission is to advance health and welfare by promoting progress and education in biological and biomedical sciences through service to our member societies and collaborative advocacy. We at FASB feel strongly that equipping the next generations of scientists to succeed in their chosen careers is fundamental to that mission. Thus, our interest in and support for our society's professional development activities. Here are our 30 member societies whose support and collaboration are essential to FASB's work. And now we'll talk briefly about the benefits of belonging to a professional society. As a trainee, whether you're an undergraduate, graduate, or postdoctoral student, or sometimes even an early career professional, membership in a professional society offers many perks. For example, discounted membership fees and conference registration, access to journals and reduced submission fees for manuscripts, a community outside your lab with networking, mentoring, and service opportunities, and of course, awards and glory. You can find more information on the many professional development activities offered by the FASB member societies on our website, www.fasb.org. Click on the Professional Development and Diversity Resources tab on the top menu, then on the Professional Development and Career Resources tab on the pull-down menu on the left side of the page. You'll see a link to an interactive spreadsheet on the paragraph Society Resources for Trainees. Click on this to download the spreadsheet. The spreadsheet lists categories of awards and resources, and if a society offers that particular resource, you'll see an icon. For example, Poster or Presentation Awards for ASBMR. If you click on the icon, it takes you directly to the Society's webpage for more details on that topic. If an icon is not underlined or hyperlinked, there is no information on the Society's webpage, but that Society does offer that benefit, and you should contact Society staff for more information. All right, let's hear about some of the wonderful professional development programs directly from the Societies. Up first, Dr. Mary Litzinger from AAI.
Thank you. The American Association of Immunologists has membership categories at discounted rates for both graduate students and postdoctoral fellows. So today I will highlight some of the career development opportunities that we specifically offer to our trainee members. For all of the programs that I will be discussing, there's more information on our website, and I've included the relevant links on each slide. First, we have the AAI Careers in Immunology Fellowship Program. This is our largest AAI awards program in terms of amount of funding. It provides PIs with 1 year of salary support for a trainee in their labs, either a student or a postdoc. To date, we have supported 157 fellowships since the program's launch in 2014. We also offer an AAI Public Policy Fellows program, which brings up to 10 postdocs or assistant professors to participate annually in AAI public affairs activities. This is while they're still in the lab. There's no need to leave the bench or their job. There's more information on the AAI website, but also there will be more information about this AAI program in next week's FASB webinar on Introduction to Science Policy Fellowships. AAI also offers a robust travel awards program. More than 400 trainee abstract-based awards are given annually at the AAI meeting for both oral and poster presentations. The abstract-based awards for the AAI meeting include several different award types, providing travel reimbursement of $150 to $1,250. We also offer approximately 140 trainee abstract awards at 15 or more other immunology meetings in the U.S. and abroad as part of the AAI Outreach Program, which supports member-organized meetings in the field. These awards provide $50 to $500 in travel support. Trainee members are also eligible to receive travel awards to international congresses, the most recent being the awards offered for the European Congress of Immunology in 2018. And trainees are eligible as a designated traveler for the AAI Travel for Techniques Awards, which allows members to travel to learn research techniques which are not available to them locally. And that would provide up to $1,500 per award in travel reimbursement. AAI offers many career development sessions and resources at the AAI annual meeting. At Careers in Biotech, industry mentors will share their experiences in succeeding in industry. We have 2 careers roundtables where mentors will offer advice on a range of career issues, including balancing career and family, transitioning from specific career stages, and moving to a specific work environment, academia, biotech, government, or nonprofit. Other sessions offer guidance on the job search and interview process, international opportunities, and more. We also offer a jobs board, which is free to meeting registrants and exhibitors. AAI also provides career mentoring outside of the AAI annual meeting. The Career Advisory Board allows senior postdocs and early career faculty to obtain advice on a range of specific career questions from established investigators outside of their home institutions. This is often through a single phone call, and topics include balancing family and work, finding a mentor, teaching, and preparing for leadership. And you can see a list of other sample topics here on this slide. AAI also offers education and career development opportunities through its immunology courses held each summer. The AAI introductory course is intended for students new to the discipline, while the AI Advanced course is for advanced trainees and scientists who wish to expand or update their understanding of the field. Both courses feature lectures by prominent immunologists and are held annually, as I said, in the summer. So that highlights some of the career development AI offers for its trainee members and concludes my presentation. Now, Kanika Pulliam will describe the career development opportunities offered by the American Society of Human Genetics.
Thank you. So now I'll proceed. And so I'll talk about some of the trainee membership benefits of being a member of ASHG. Aside from the usual benefits of being a member, there's savings at our annual meeting. There's free publication in our journal, the AJHG. There's also benefits to science policy advocacy, but some of the benefits that are particular to our training members is what I'll discuss in my talk today. And so I'll discuss some of the opportunities, leadership opportunities for trainees, some of the benefits of being a member as far as interacting with your peers and other potential mentors, and some of our education, career, and professional opportunities that we have for our training members. And with all of those types of benefits, it only costs $25 for undergraduates to become a member, $50 for graduate students and postdocs, and $60 for our early career scientists. And those are our scientists who are within 3 years of completing their advanced degree. And so I'll first begin with talking about our fellowship opportunities. And what's great is that we're now accepting applications for our fellowship, and the deadline is a little over 2 weeks, which is April 27th. And if you go to the website below, you can find more information about the fellowships. And so the first fellowship is our Genetics Education and Engagement Fellowship. And this fellowship is geared towards trainees who have an interest in genomics literacy efforts, informal science education policy, program development, or science education research. Our other fellowship that will be discussed in more detail next week is our Genetics and Public Policy Fellowship. This is for trainees who have an interest in development and implementation of genetics-related health and research policies at the national level. Now, for both of these fellowships that we provide with ASHG in collaboration with the National Human Genome Research Institute, or NHGRI, these are for trainees who have completed advanced training in genetics and genomics. Either you have a master's or PhD, and so if you actually complete your degree by May, then you're still eligible for this award. You're also eligible as an international applicant for this particular fellowship. The duration of these fellowships is about 16 months. The start date would be August to early September of this year. Again, these dates are negotiable. And what's great about this fellowship is that we offer $72,000 per year, and this includes benefits. So please go to our website. We're accepting applications, and the deadline is this month, April 27th. Other opportunities that we provide for trainees are leadership opportunities. And again, what's great is we're accepting applications for these opportunities, and the deadline is May 23rd. And so with these opportunities, trainees can apply to serve on ASHG's board of directors and our different committees that we provide. And so this is just showing a picture of some of our trainees at our annual meeting. These are 3-year terms, so make sure you're able to be committed and engaged in these committees, because this can take up some time, but this is a great opportunity for you to gain some leadership skills. We have vacancies on 3 of our committees right now. We have 1 vacancy on the communications committee, and this committee is involved in recommending and assisting with our communications and public relations efforts with ASHG. We have 1 vacancy on the program committee. This committee is really, really busy committee. They actually organize the scientific program for our annual meeting. So this is a really great opportunity if you want to know what happens in organizing a scientific meeting. And we have 3 vacancies on our training and development committee. And there's 3 vacancies because this is the only committee with ASHG that only consists of trainee members. And this particular committee recommends and carries out activities that have to do with our career and professional development opportunities. And so this is a really engaged committee that are involved in a lot of our professional development activities at ASHG. Now I'll go through some of our year-round activities that we provide for our trainee members. And aside from being a part of our committees and the board of directors, you can also be involved in some of our subcommittees. And so with that, we have a trainee newsletter. It's called the Nascent Transcript. This is a quarterly newsletter that comes out. And so this consists of only trainee writers and editors that are involved in putting together this newsletter. And so we have different events that we highlight on the newsletter. Our writers, they put together topics and articles in the newsletter. They interview professionals, and their articles are put in the newsletter. And so this is a great opportunity if you're really excited about science writing or communication. This is a way to really get involved, and this is something you can put on your resume. Some other opportunities we have for trainees is we have what we call the Trainee Paper Spotlight. And this is a way that we highlight our trainees' research papers. If you've authored if you're the first author on a paper, then you can nominate your paper so we can highlight it in our newsletter, on our website, and in other social media platforms. And your paper must have been published within the past year. Some other opportunities that we have is a collaboration with the Jackson Laboratory. This is a year-long program, which what we do with this Conference to Career program is we prepare our trainees for our annual meeting. And so we do this through a series of online interactive type courses where the trainees interact with each other and they interact with ASHG and JAX through these webinars where we discuss things like networking, elevator speeches, how to prepare your resume based on what type of job you're looking at, and how to follow through with people after the meeting. And one of the other things we have is what we call a trainee forum. And this is our Facebook and LinkedIn pages that are only open to ASHG trainee members. And it's a way for the trainees to interact and talk with each other. And it's also a place where we post different professional development type activities that are relevant to trainees. Now I'll briefly go through some of our annual meeting activities. We have a lot of different activities that I've put into different subcategories. And so we look at somewhat what I call as our professional development or career development activities. We hold a lot of different workshops and panels where, for one, we have an undergraduate faculty genetics workshop. This is also open to graduate students and postdocs who are teaching classes that consist of a lot of genetics type content. And so our theme for this year will be human genome editing. So if you want to learn different ways you can teach this in the classroom, then I suggest you sign up for the workshop. Some other things we provide are some different development sessions where we provide academic and industry career panels where we have professionals in those career fields. They provide questions based on those different topics. We provided individual development plan workshops, and this year the Training and Development Committee, they're working on putting together a conflict management workshop. And this is something where if you have conflicts in the lab or just in the workplace, then this is the type of workshop to come to. Other workshops we hold is a publications workshop if you want to know how to publish in our journal and in other journals, and then this is the place to come. What's great about this is that we also invite 10 to 15 other editors of journals to come to this event and talk to the trainees about how to publish in their particular journal. So we have editors from Nature, AAAS, and other type journals, genetics, anything you would be interested in. Something else that's exciting is we have a mock NIH study section workshop. This is a behind-the-scenes look of a scientific review session. And so the facilitators of this workshop, they put together this sort of a session where you see the behind-the-scenes look of them reviewing like a grant, like a K-99. Other activities, we have a career center where we provide career coaching and resume and CV review. In the mentoring and networking area with our meeting, again, we have the ASHG Conference to Career program. We provide an in-person workshop there where people can actually practice what we've been talking about in the online courses throughout the year. You can practice your elevator speech, handshake, eye contact, how to network and how to talk with people at this event. We also have a trivia event only for trainees where they can interact. It's really fun. We do genetics type pub questions. People win prizes. There's other events where you can interact with people based on their career field or your research interests at the trainee mentor luncheons and the career paths and genetics reception. And so if you're interested in something like science and law or science writing, science policy, then come to this type of event. We also have diversity and inclusion type activities at our annual meeting where we provide along with FASB, a mentored travel award for underrepresented trainees, and we have a diversity breakfast where the theme this year will focus on mentoring underrepresented minorities. So we'll have mentor-mentee pairs who will be discussing their activities on a panel. And as far as scientific research and highlights, we provide a trainee award for abstracts based on your abstract score given by the program committee. And what we really like to do is make sure that trainees are really a part of our meeting. And so what we do is we make sure with the program committee that trainees are moderating a good number of sessions in our meeting, and we like to make sure that our trainees are initiating invited sessions. So we have a good number of those this year. So thank you for your time, and our next speaker will be Catherine Fry.
All right, thank you. Hi, everybody. So I wanted to start by emphasizing that providing professional development to our trainees is one of the 6 goals of our strategic plan. So it's really central to our mission and our vision as a society. You can see on the screen the 4 objectives that relate to our goal of attracting and developing the next generation of pharmacologists. One thing you'll notice as you look at them is that we take a fairly broad approach from pre-college all the way up to mid-career scientists. And this stems from our belief that we can and should be supporting the career development of our members through a variety of transitions in their professional lives. So today I've chosen to highlight 4 programs that are, I think, representative of this spectrum of career stages. And you can read more about those and the rest of our programs, because this is not an exhaustive list, at the web address on the bottom of the slide that you see here. The first of these is our Summer Undergraduate Research Fellowship Program. This is one of our oldest programs. It was established in 1992 and has now had over 2,200 students complete fellowships. And we celebrated our 25th anniversary last year with a bunch of special events, which was really neat. One of the outcomes we've been able to track through program evaluation is that almost 90% of alums, and there's a sizable number of alums now, of this program actually do stay in the biomedical sciences, whether that's pursuing a PhD, a PharmD, an MD PhD, or moving directly into the scientific workforce. We've had former fellows who are now professors, some even department chairs, and are mentoring the next generation of students through this program. We have 2 program tracks as part of SURF. One is the institutional track, which funds institutions to provide fellowships to a minimum of 5 students, although many programs will supplement our funding and provide more fellowships than the minimum. We have 19 of those institutional programs across the country. For those programs, students apply directly to the institution. The other track is our individual program track, which is designed for students who may not have access to one of the larger programs. So for example, we get a lot of applications from students at small liberal arts colleges or regional universities that may just not have the critical mass of faculty needed for one of the institutional programs, and they apply directly to ASPET in that case. So we give on average about a half dozen of the individual fellowships each year, and between the 2 program tracks, we have just over 100 SURF students every summer. And many of them come to our annual meeting, which starts next week in the spring, to present their research results. So we do see a lot of them coming to our annual meeting. All right, moving on to a graduate student program. Next up is our Pharmacology Industry Internships for PhD Students program. This is a much newer program which was developed partly in response to member feedback, but also to some national employment trends. So graduate students in pharmacology frequently express an interest in industry as a career path, but it can be difficult for them to actually get meaningful experience in industry while they're still enrolled in an academic graduate program. So as a pilot effort, we're providing funding to 3 institutions to run industry internship programs. So these programs have negotiated relationships with industry partners directly, where students will serve as interns and they do the matching of students with internships. So our first participants just completed their internships in late 2017, and the hosts ranged from small startups all the way up to major pharma companies like Pfizer. The early evaluation data on this one has been quite promising. So our interns have reported gains in career skills like project management, time management, teamwork. Those are all useful skills regardless if they have decided they want to stay in industry. We've also heard some very positive feedback from the industry mentors, and actually one of the students was invited to interview for a position at the company. So this has been so far a win-win. So we will keep going and see how that one flourishes. The next program I'll discuss is the ASPET Mentoring Network. So this program is now in its 3rd year, and it's for graduate students and postdocs. This is a year-long career coaching program that starts off with a day-and-a-half of in-person sessions right before our annual meeting in experimental biology. So we're actually getting started with our 3rd cohort next week. They continue meeting virtually for a year, and that's typically through a monthly teleconference or webinar. The program has a really strong emphasis on diversity and culturally aware mentoring, and on developing career skills that are broadly applicable to different sectors. So for example, some common discussion topics for the coaching groups are communication skills, networking skills, negotiation, how to write a good cover letter, how to present yourself in the job market, and similar topics. And because we use a group coaching model and we have mixed groups of grad students and postdocs, we also see a lot of peer mentoring taking place. The coaches themselves are volunteer ASPET members who have some mentoring experience and who have a desire to help the career advancement of our younger members. We aim to choose coaches that represent a variety of career paths. So we typically include academia, industry, and government at a minimum. And now that this program's been in place for a few years, we're actually seeing that many of our participants' mentoring relationships are continuing beyond the 1-year program. So it's becoming a longer-term member benefit for those who participate. And so I hope that as this program continues, much like we see for SURF, some of our prior participants may eventually serve as career coaches themselves. All right, the final program I'll talk about is our Washington Fellows program. This one is available for grad students, postdocs, and up through early career scientists who are not more than 4 years past their postdocs. Many societies have programs like this that are designed to provide some experience engaging in public policy and advocacy. I wanted to emphasize that you don't necessarily need to have a long-term career goal of working in the public policy area to benefit from these programs. So they're a great way to learn more about how policy impacts science, to polish your skills in communicating to non-scientists, and to get experience in advocating for science. So our fellows come to DC for a Capitol Hill Day, where they meet with their congressional delegation, and we also provide them with the tools and training for how to become science advocates at home. And you can actually hear more about these types of programs on next week's FASB webinar if you're interested in hearing more about those. So next up, I'm going to turn it over to Ida Chow from the Society for Developmental Biology.
Hello, good afternoon. This is Ida Chow of the Society for Developmental Biology, a society that has existed since 1939, and its purpose is to further the study of development in all organisms at all levels, to promote and exchange among the institutions, amongst the interested people, both as scientists and non-scientists. So as it's already been mentioned, the trainees receive a lot of benefits from each one of the societies. And our trainee membership types are student, both graduate and undergraduate students, and the dues are $20 a year, so it's a pretty good deal. And the postdocs are $45 a year, and they can be postdoc fellows up to 7 years past the graduation year. And they will have reduced rates to go to the meetings, and we have both annual and regional meetings. And the trainees also can apply for travel awards, and just by getting a travel award, they would have gotten more than the return for the dues. And I would like to highlight a few programs that we have for the trainees, because many of the other societies have already talked about theirs. And I would emphasize on these 4. Choose Development, Boot Camp for New Faculty, Hildy Mangold Symposium at the STB annual meetings, and various workshops and roundtable discussions at both STB annual and regional meetings. Choose Development. This program is relatively new. It started in 2013, and it's built upon a culture of inclusiveness. We want to increase the number of underrepresented minorities as defined by the federal government for undergraduate students and students with disabilities entering doctoral programs in developmental biology and related areas. And we have usually somewhere between 6 to 12 fellows each year, and they aim to be, they're matched to an STB full member to do research, a 10-week summer research program in their labs. And this matching is according to the mentor and the mentee or the fellow's research interest. Sometimes the pair, mentor and fellow, may apply together, and they will do this 10-week research in the summer. And our idea is that long-term training will be a lot more productive than one-time deal. So if the pair is willing to and they're happy with each other, they can come back for a second and sometimes a third summer of research. And after the first summer research, then the second year, they're coming to the STB annual meeting to present their data. And all this is supported and covered by STB. We have an initial grant from NSF, but now STB itself is supporting this program. And here are a few pictures showing the presentation at the annual meetings, workshops at the annual meeting, and also before the annual meeting. Sometimes we have workshops for the mentors. And 1 or 2 students who are lucky enough, they will be selected to spend 1 week at the embryology course at the Marine Biological Laboratory in Woods Hole. The next program that I would like to mention for mentees, and this is for the advanced postdoctoral fellows, but also the pre-tenure faculty, and they who are interested in improving their leadership skills, to learn about best practices in effective teaching and mentoring, learning about different organisms that they can use for teaching or research, because some people may have been working with organisms that won't exist or are not possible to maintain in their new job environment. So they would need to learn what other organisms they can use to answer the questions that they have about development. They will also talk about navigating through different academic systems, because they are the R1 and are the primarily undergraduate institutions, and advancement in these institutions are very different. Of course, we'll talk about funding resources and grant writing and communication. And we've been doing this for 6 boot camps, and this coming year is going to be the 7th boot camp at our annual meeting. These boot camps are held just before the annual meeting. And application is open right now to apply for this year's boot camp. And it's going to be in July in Portland, Oregon. And here are a couple of pictures showing one of the classes learning how to work with chick embryos, and some of the boot campers. And we do have drill sergeants who wear drill sergeant hats, as you see on the lower right corner picture. And the 2 who are wearing hats are the co-founders of this boot camp. Hildy Mango Postdoctoral Symposium. This is for postdoctoral fellows, and it's a plenary session at the annual meeting. And we select 2 postdoctoral fellows to organize and to chair these sessions. And they learn about the peer review process by selecting amongst tens of submitted abstracts to select 8 of them for presentation during this session. And the co-chairs are the 2 people on the ends of this picture. They co-chair the session, and they have to be really on task to keep the time. And different people will judge the best speakers. And the best speaker will be given a prize for to a meeting or a short course or workshop of their choice, and we will support up to a $1,500 travel reimbursement. And as all the other societies have already mentioned, workshops, roundtables, panel discussions are held at SCB annual and regional meetings. The formats are selected by the meeting organizers, and they can be interactive workshops, facilitated roundtable discussions on selected themes, speed dating, exchanges, etc. The themes can vary from new technical approaches, career choices, funding and grant writing, communicating with the public, publishing, mentoring, education, etc. So there's a lot of things that we try to do for the trainees. And also this year, we started a new position on the SCB board for a trainee representative. And the trainee is either a graduate student or a postdoc. And they have to be in their current or postdoc or trainee position for 2 years in order to qualify for this position. And we would like to hear from different people. If you have any questions about our programs and other societies' programs, please submit your questions, and we will be ready to answer them. Thank you very much.
All right, so that ends the formal presentation part of the webinar, and now it's time for your questions. As a reminder, to submit a question, just click on the Write Question Here box, type your question, and hit the gray Send button. So to begin, we have one question. Do you have to be a society member to take advantage of these programs? Why don't we just quickly go around the table. Mary, how about an AAI?
For all of the AAI awards programs I mentioned, you do have to be a trainee member to be eligible. For participation in the AAI annual meeting, all the career sessions and resources that were listed, as well as for participation in the courses, you do not have to be a member, but we offer discounted registration rates for members.
For the American Society of Human Genetics professional development programs, you do not need to be a member for our fellowship programs. It's highly recommended. And again, for our meeting events, it's not required to be a member, but you do get a really good discount if you're a member of ASHG. So it's worth it to become a member.
And I'll continue the plug for the benefits of membership. So this is Kathy Fry from ASPET. The programs that I chose to talk about today are programs that are only open to members. I didn't go into much detail about some of our offerings at our annual meeting. In that case, those are open to any meeting registrant. But most societies have pretty deeply discounted membership rates for trainees, so I think you get a lot of bang for your buck in terms of becoming a member and getting access to the kinds of programs we're talking about today.
And for the Society for Developmental Biology, all the boot camp and workshops and all that are related to the meetings, they require membership. However, the Choose Development program, because it's a broadening participation program, we do not require membership, and we encourage the students to become a member once they taste the niceties of being a member of the community.
right, so our next question is specifically for Kanika and ASHG. Can you tell me a little more about the ASHG JAC Conference to Career program?
So in the Conference to Career program, this usually starts in August. We piloted the program last year, so this was our first time collaborating with JACS on this type of program. It's been highly successful, and what happens in this program is we provide an online course or webinar each month leading up to our annual meeting, and we provide different topics, something that has to do with preparing for a meeting. What we found is that a lot of our trainees don't quite know how to network. That's usually something we always hear a lot, is they don't know how to approach senior scientists, how to talk to them about different job opportunities, how to even approach exhibitors about job opportunities. And so we really want to give them a platform in a smaller environment where they could ask those questions and we could tell them things that they can do to prepare for the meeting. And so some of the topics that we discussed were how to network and how to approach people at a meeting, and that it's really not that difficult. Even if you just start a simple conversation about the weather, that's just one way to start networking with someone, and to also make sure you get their contact information and follow up with them while you're at the meeting and after the meeting. And so what we found, what was really great, is that one of our participants in the program, he followed up with someone he met at the meeting, and he actually is now going to do an internship with this program. So this was a really great highlight of our program. And so even at the meeting, we do an in-person workshop, and afterwards we follow through, and we had a series of webinars afterwards, after the meeting, just to see how everything worked out for people. And something that we're doing now with the program is we're doing an online chatter series. So everything's online. And we pick different people in different career fields where you can do just an online informal chat with people and ask them questions about how did they get into this career, how did they transition out of a postdoc out of the research lab, those kind of things.
Great, thank you. So our next question is, I didn't hear anything about the American Physiological Society. Does APS have any programs for trainees? So yes, the American Physiological Society has a number of wonderful trainee programs. Unfortunately, they weren't able to be here today to talk about them. But if you go to the spreadsheet that I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar, which is on the FASB website, under the Professional Development Resources tab, that will give you a link to the APS website and all of the programs they have. And there's also the possibility that we can do a follow-up webinar featuring other FASB societies and highlighting their programs. Okay, another question. Can you give me some more details about the Choose Development Program from SDB? So Ida, I'll hand that to you.
Thank you. So this is a program for summer research, and it's for 10 weeks, and it started in 2013. And the fellowship covers the stipend, covers the travel of the fellow to the host lab, if it is in the same one that the fellow has been working in, and stay at the university, at the institution. And the following year, we cover the expenses for the fellow to go to our annual meeting to present the data that he or she obtained the previous year. In this program, we match the student with a mentor, if they don't already have their own mentor, according to the interests of both the mentor and the student. And they can talk to each other beforehand to decide whether they like each other or not. And then they can go on for the summer research. And we only had 24 fellows through the 5 years, so it's not a very large program. Out of the 16 who have graduated, 9 are in PhD programs now, and amongst the schools they are in are Harvard, NYU, Columbia, Stanford, Lehigh, University of California in Berkeley. And 3 are in medical school, and the other 3 are working in science fields. And we tried, so the matching seems to be going well, and we would like to have more candidates. And the opening for the inscription for the application is beginning of spring. And by now we have already selected our next cohort for this summer. So if you are interested, you have to be an undergraduate student, at least in the sophomore year, and preferably you will be not more than junior, because we would like you to experience 2 summers experience, and you have to be one of the people within the category of underrepresented minorities as far as ethnic, race, gender groups, and also if you have any kind of disability. And we can accommodate different types of disability in the universities or in the labs, host labs. So check us out on the website and see who these members are, who the fellows are, and if you are already a faculty, we would like you to also participate as a mentor. Now, the mentors all have to be STB full members, and they should have a current grant, because our budget is not large enough to provide supply or equipment money for the research. Thank you.
Okay, next question. Do you know what any of your previous fellows are doing now? Did participation in the fellowship help them to get a job? So this isn't directed at anyone specifically. I guess we can just go around. Mary, do you have any examples?
We follow up with the Careers in Immunology Fellowship recipients after their fellowship year, and they have indicated that the fellowship funds help them to progress their projects along and resulted, in some cases, in additional grants or additional publications on that project. We haven't done any long-term follow-up. Since the program started in 2014, we have considered doing a 5 or 10-year follow-up, and that would still be to come.
For ASHG fellowship programs, at least for the Genetics Education and Engagement Fellowship, this is a fairly new fellowship program, so we've only 3 fellows. More so, let's see, one works here at FASEP right now. The one before her, our second fellow, she's now working at the New York City Department of Education as a program manager. And the first fellow, she's now working at the National Human Genome Research Institute as a management analyst, doing genomics type education. And I won't go into too much detail about the Public Policy Fellowship, but there's a good number of them. They're also working at the National Human Genome Research Institute. There's one that's actually working in our office with ASHG. He's now our Senior Director of Policy and Advocacy. So they're all doing a lot of different type things. A lot of them are science policy analysts, staff fellows at the FDA. So there's a lot of opportunities for the fellows.
Sure, I'll answer a little bit on behalf of AFBET. So our most robust set of data for outcomes is from our undergraduate fellowship program. That's the SURF program I mentioned before, which now has well over 2,000 alums, and we do try to follow them as much as possible. Many of them do continue in the labs they did a fellowship in. That's pretty common to see them kind of treat that lab as their new home and continue those research projects and keep forging relationships in that department and with those faculty. We follow them as far as possible. Usually that sort of ends with their first position, but we see that a lot of them, even if they didn't stay in that particular sort of research niche, that experience is in many ways their first foray into developing a network. And one of the things we did, as part of our 25th anniversary was to actually do some interviews and some follow-ups with fellows going all the way back to the start of the program. And we asked them, what did this mean for your career? So we heard a lot of really neat stories about how it helped them feel more confident, make connections. A lot of them are still in touch with people that they worked with as undergrads. So it's nice to have that kind of long-term view on what it meant to members to participate in these programs.
So for SDB, I already mentioned what the Truth Development Fellows alumni are now, since it's only a short-time program. But for the boot camp for new faculty, we have followed them, since most of them are still members of the society, and they have all advanced in their own careers one way or another. Some did not stay in academia, even though, and this would be some from the postdoc fellows, even though they did the boot camp for new faculty, because there they also learned other opportunities, they also learned other skills, soft skills that they made use of. And the ones who were in the academia, as far as we know, most of them have advanced in their stages in their career. So in a certain way, I think all these programs are helpful for all the recipients.
Okay, I think we have time for probably one more question. So a few people mentioned offering committee experience or trainee committees. Do I need previous committee experience to apply or to serve on these committees? Go ahead. Yeah, Ida, go ahead.
No, we don't think that you need to have previous experience. What we look for is enthusiasm and dedication, that you are really interested in the activities of the society. And it will help if you have participated in some of those activities, so that if you are asked, you will be able to answer with your own experience.
Sure. From AFSPED, I'll kind of back up what Ida said. I'd say the most important thing is the enthusiasm and the time to do it, and the dedication to really participate and come to those meetings and be vocal, and don't be afraid to share your ideas. We view kind of grooming younger members in these leadership roles as part of what we do, and so we love to have that sort of infusion of energy from younger members on our committees.
So with ASHG, it's not a requirement that you have previous committee experience. And so when we're looking at the applications, we are looking for people, at least if you've had some kind of volunteer experience, maybe doing something else in college or in graduate school, medical school, or just to show some kind of dedication or interest in really being engaged with the different committees. And so depending on which one you're interested in, just showing some kind of interest in those types of responsibilities really helps when you're applying for positions.
This question is not as relevant to AI. While we always welcome new ideas and enthusiasm, particularly from our younger members, we do not have any trainee committees at the current time.
All right, great, thank you. So that concludes our webinar for today. If you think of questions afterwards that you didn't submit today, feel free to email our presenters. Their email addresses are shown here. The slides from today's webinar will be available within the next 2 days, so you'll get a follow-up email with a link to the slides, and they'll also be available on the FASB website. So thank you all again for participating, and we'll talk to you again soon.